Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. My name is still Cedric and today we are going to talk about an Italian beer, namely the Parma Lager by Birrificio Del Ducato. Now I do realize that I have been away for a few weeks and that wasn't the plan. I went to France, I did some volunteer work in the south of France, and by some silly accident I ended up in the hospital. And long story short, I did something stupid. I bruised a bunch of ribs, my hip, some of my intestines were hit, I hurt my leg, and basically I just fell off something. But hey, don't worry, I missed you guys too and I am back. Unfortunately, I did not have a back catalog as I don't pre-record episodes of this, so this is all just on the fly. However, I will be back right now and I will be posting videos again every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday for as far as I'm able to. Don't worry, I still have about 200 beers in my garage. So yeah, we'll get through the year. As long as I don't do any stupid accidents anymore. So maybe I should stop climbing and skiing. But yeah, it's just so fun, right? Anywho, let's talk beer. I can tell you right off the bat that this is not gonna be a bad beer. I haven't tasted it before, or maybe I have, but it's been a while. But this brewery actually really knows what they're doing. Witness of that is that they have over 100 awards already, and they are the most nominated Italian brewery ever. They have been founded in 2007, so they racked up these awards in the last 15 years. I say founded in 2007 because in 2007 Giovanni Campari, how Italian can you be, founded a tiny microbrewery in Roncole Verdi di Busserto, and I really hope I don't butcher that, but Roncole Verdi is the birthplace of Giuseppe Verdi, so they're the composer. So it's a place with a lot of history, also a place with a lot of wine history, but for beer this was something completely new. So Giuseppe Campari founded the microbrewery, started brewing, and in 2008 the first awards already rolled in. He enrolled in the Birra dell'Anno contest in Italy, and he already won 3 silver medals, and he also won gold at the European Beer Star for the Verdi Imperial Stout. So he didn't only start brewing, he started experimenting with different styles right off the bat. He came out with several beers in his first year and already 4 awards. Also in 2008 he purchased his first batch of barrels for La Ultima Luna, the ultimate moon, and this was supposed to be a beer aged in wooden barrels. So he bought his first barrels. Then in 2009 one of the beers, the New Morning, makes it into the list of 25 best beers of the world. And they got a medal from the Stockholm Beer Festival. Now, I can hear you think it's easy to rack up a lot of awards if you enter in every contest in the world, and that may be so. But on the other hand, your beers do have to have a certain quality standard to make it into the medals. So, did they take the easy way? Yeah, of course they did. Are they worth the awards? Yeah, I guess they are. They don't give them out for free, so. Also in 2009 they bought some extra casks, so now they have 20 wooden barriques, or yeah, big casks, big barrels. Then 2010, 3 years after opening the brewery, was an absolute top year with 10 medals at international contests and the brewery city in Italy. I say a top year, but 2011 was even better. That was their record year. That was not just their record year, but a record year in general, because they won the most medals ever at the European Beer Star. They won 7 medals in 1 year, and I'm not quite sure, but I do believe that still is the record. Then in 2012, yeah, more and more awards are given to them. I'm not gonna name all the awards because really I don't want a 2-hour video that's just a summation of all the awards one brewery won. But 2012, more awards, period. And their export grows, so they add a new warehouse. So the brewery is already growing 5 years in. In 2013, 1 year later, a new brewery is built. So they have 2 locations, and the new brewery is built in Sorrento. Of course, they don't start brewing there from day one, but they already move the admin and the logistics over there. They also win a bunch of awards, as they do every year, and they expand their barrels park to 90, so they add 70 barrels to their warehouse. Then in 2014, they keep growing and they keep growing, and about 35% of production is exported, and they already export to 18 countries 7 years after starting up. Then in 2015, 2 years after building the brewery in Sorrento, they start brewing there. They have a brand new top of the line 5-tank 60 hectoliter automated plant, and immediately that becomes their main brewery. Now, I know someone that actually helped starting that up, a Belgian friend, and I haven't had the chance to go there, but he said it's an awesome, small but awesome little brewery. So yeah, sounds cool, all right. And Sorrento is now the main brewery, and Roncolo Verdi is exclusively used as a sour brewery, so a brewery for sour beers. That way they can never contaminate each other, which is quite smart. In 2016, something rather special happens, namely Belgian brewery Duvel Moortgat, we all know from Duvel, acquires 35% of the shares. So they bought themselves into Brewery Del Ducato, and basically not much changes at that point, but they do like to keep a bit of control when it comes to quality, when it comes to materials used, and let's say they just go for quality. Quality is their very first concern. In 2018, 2 years later, Moortgat shares grow to 70%. So they take the main share and they actually become boss of Del Ducato. At that point, Giovanni Campari is still there, he still runs the show, and Moortgat is actually just, let's say, a silent partner, a big investor. Michel Moortgat also visited the brewery with some other people, with an entourage, and they made a lot of investments there. For example, they built a new laboratory, they built a new bottling line, they opened a brewery shop, because Moortgat is also a very commercial thinker. But apart from that, they also started up a new line of beers, a new range called the Parma range, and this Parma Lager is one, if not the first beer in that range. Another 2 years later, Duvel acquires the last 30%, so they take 100% of Del Ducato, and Campari leaves the brewery. So actually they bought the last 30% of the shares from Campari. Campari leaves and they make a Belgian manager in charge of the brewery. And at that point, they have, give or take, 22 beers in their range. And yeah, they use these very, very recognizable bottles, which actually resemble a brewing kettle if you have a bit of imagination. Also love the label, by the way. Again, very simple, and it has a picture of a Parma building on it, and apparently it is a UNESCO heritage. Anywho, well, I can actually keep it here. Unfortunately, 2020 was, or 2019, 2020, the start of the COVID years, and they initiated a big standstill in the whole horeca sector. So Ducato was paused at that moment, but as far as I have heard, they're doing all right, and they are starting up again, and they can deliver beers again. So, talking about the beer itself, this is the Birrificio Del Ducato Parma Lager. They also have some very nice bottle caps. Lovely bottles, as I said, resembling a brewing kettle or an old copper kettle. What can I tell you about this specific beer? It is a plain and simple lager, like a Pilsner beer. It has won Best Beer of the Year 2019, and it has a 4.5% ABV. Now, being a lager, I'm expecting this to be, gold blonde, gold yellow, crisp, clear, clean, slightly bitter, refreshing, but we will see that in a second. I have read that this beer should have some floral notes, and it should make you think about cereal and chestnuts and all those things. And even though I love a good sales pitch on any day, I love tasting it a lot more. I do have to tell you that this is not the freshest bottle in my fridge. It is an older one. But we'll see what that gives. Already some sweet bitter aromas. Not as clear as I thought, it's slightly hazy. There is some sediment in there. And being a clean lager, I did not expect to have yeast in the bottle. So that's one thing. I was right about the golden yellow. It has a very nice clear white head of foam with very tiny bubbles. Very malty, slightly bitter in the nose, I'd say floral. So let's have a taste. It is indeed very crisp and clean, but it's mainly very light. It's very thin, it's very light bodied, a tad dry. Very clean indeed. And it is quite dry in the aftertaste. It's a bit bitter. Now, I said I have read that this should make you think about cereal and chestnuts, and maybe it's Bader Meinhof effect, but I honestly do get that in here. Not specifically chestnuts, but cereal, yeah. Some grain, some malty flavors. And if you look at that haze, you'll understand why. So it's mainly malt and the esters from the yeast. It is a very refreshing beer, as most lagers or most pilsners are. And since it's lovely weather here, for Belgium it's very good weather. We have about 28 to 30 degrees centigrade. That means it is barbecue season, and I would actually pair this with a nice barbecue. Anything meaty, greasy, maybe herbal. I'd say some freshly cut cucumber with salt and pepper and a nice pilsner. So this would go perfectly with that. Yeah. I'd say this is one of the better lagers. Now, probably this is because it's a foreign beer, and mainly local pilsners are, yeah, we say in Dutch, eenheidsworst, unity lager, meaning they're actually all the same. I love Stella Artois because that's a bit more bitter than the other ones, but overall they're all quite light, quite sweet, quite thin. This is a bit more bitter. It is like Stella. It is like when you go to Spain and you have San Miguel and Estrella Damm and Mahu. Estrella is a bit more dry and bitter. San Miguel is the center one. Mahu is more watery and sugary. This beer compares for me to a Stella Artois. So yeah, job well done, because I like it. Anywho, cheers to Giovanni Campari, just because I love saying that name. And cheers to Michel Mortiat for taking over that brewery and keeping track of the quality. Honestly, I hope that I can see one or two of their other beers. I think the only beer that I have seen from Del Ducato in Belgium is the Winterlude, which doesn't taste as it sounds because it's a strong blonde beer. It's not a wintry dark beer. But I will do my very best to get some of their beers over here. Cheers you guys. If you like this video, let me know. Comment if you have any questions or if you have any remarks. Also comment down below. If you like the video, let me know by liking it. And if you want to see more in the future, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you will get notified when I upload something, which will be, if all goes well, every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. 3 beers a week, not that bad, right? Cheers!